Good morning, viewers. Good morning, listeners. It is Quest Television, and of course, it's the Quest Today and the Papers Review. My name is Sarah Mowigo. I'm not alone. I'm here with my colleague, Mr. Alex Ogbonaya. Did I get it? Oh, thank you so much. Yes, not just him. We have our adorable guest here, Comrade Odoma. Good morning, sir. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. The winds are whistling by and the trees are bending to let them pass.
Oh,
now.
you started already. But we have enough time to give us a parables.
Okay, I hear you.
That. But like I said, it's the newspaper review on Quest Today, and the first paper for review is that of the Daily Sun. And let's quickly take a look at the paper and see what it has for us. The big story there says anger, tension, greet military coup in Gabon. A kicker underneath there says AU, world leaders, orders rise against Bongo's ouster. Tinubu working with AU to determine next line of action, says presidency. Detained president urges citizens to protest. I think I saw the video of that one, yes, telling them to make noise and cry out.
Everybody should make noise.
Well, still on the Daily Sun, another story there, headline says Lagdo Dam, Delta, Anambra, Adamawa, Benue, 8 others to be flooded coming from federal government. You can read more on that on page 6 of the Daily Sun. But what you would find on page 2 says NSIA stakeholders partner on cancer treatment. And on page 27 of the Daily Sun, Tinubu mourns as Akinkunmi, Nigerian flag designer, dies at 87. Rep summons CEOs of insurance companies over unremitted 267 billion naira workers. NHF. You can read more on that on page 29 of the Daily Sun. Another story here says Lagos targets 175,000 passengers daily as Blue Rail Line begins commercial operations September 4th. Another story here says Taylor protests power supply, poor power supply and extortion in Aba State rather. In Aba is in Aba State. All right, the kicker underneath that one says it's untrue. It says they pay for what they consume. This is coming from APL. Say we will investigate issues at stake, says Aba government. But away from that one, ecological funds, lawmaker grill agency for spending 81 billion naira on free planting. You can read more on that on page 25 of the Daily Sun, and that is the much that we can take from the Daily Sun paper this morning. Well, next for review is the Daily Trust.
Yes, in fact, sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
One story features prominently on all the papers we have this morning, and that's the Gabon coup. Daily Trust has it as its lead story, like other papers. It is however captioned Gabon coup, contagious autocracy spreading in Africa. That's according to President Bola Tinubu. It's the lead story, and it has riders, and Murik warns Nigerian military against emulating Gabonese army. Why we overthrew Bongo coupists. Coup deeply concerning, according to the Commonwealth. Make noise, having arrested. Bongo begs friends for help, and Gabonese celebrates fall of Bongo's 53-year dynasty. Wow, 53 years. Okay, and below that story, the Naira's free fall continues, and the story is captioned, Naira continues free fall as NNPC Afrexim $3 billion loan deal drags. That's on page 26, or 24 rather. Man arrested for hacking 100-year-old father to death over 70,000 Naira. You can read up that on page 20. Monthly revenue from Abuja-Kaduna train service drops from 500 million naira to 1 million naira NRC. 3 months after, websites of FCTA, Education, Justice retain Bello Adamu Malami as ministers. Okay, and I think that's that from the... Okay, no, before we hand over to my colleague, one last story directly below the masthead. Nigerian flag designer Michael Akinkunmi dies at 87.
All right, that's the much we can take from Daily Trust. But next for paper review is the Punch newspaper. And I think it's all over the papers this morning because the lead story here from the Punch says Gabon, UN, Commonwealth, others condemn coup. Tinubu warns of spreading Tinubu wants to spread, rather. I think he's afraid it will come to Nigeria first, but we don't pray for that. Well, a kick underneath that one says, power doesn't belong to bearers of guns. Contagious autocracy is spreading in Africa. This is coming from Tinubu. Bongo begs for freedom. Soldiers put ex-leader under house arrest. Weeks away, son. Another story here says, NIN registration, federal government records 48% of monthly targets. You can read more on this on page 19 of the Punch newspaper. The story you will find on page 30 says, Lagos Blue Line Rail begins operation September 4th. Another story here says, Kwankwaso stealing NNPP legal advisor. Read more on that on page 30. Well, above the lead story here, says Nord urges Tinubu to probe local government allocations division. You can read more on that on page 28. And on page 19, bank fires 110 top executives. Others over 80 billion naira fraud. Our money. Well, still reading this one. Vandalized pipelines. Marketers predict more fuel queues. You can read more on that on page 20. And just before I hand over to my colleague, another story here says, Wicked Des PDP says nobody can expel me. Ogun pastor sets lady on fire during special prayers.
Hallelujah.
Cameroon Dam, federal government sets up temporary shelters in state. This is a good one to see them having preventive measures already before the flood comes. Over to you, Mr. Alex.
Wow. Ogun pastor sets worshipper on fire.
On fire.
The spirit was hiding inside the woman.
Okay, just to burn it out.
Oh my God.
Okay. Nation newspaper is up next, and expectedly the Gabon coup is leading on its front page. Tinubu, world leaders, UN, AU, EU reject Gabon junta. That's the lead story on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Above the masthead of the Nation newspaper, Fashion displeased with Adebanjo over FM&TV. And still above the masthead, Oshun APC expels three ex-Aregbeshola's men, 81 others. Wike, I will deliver Abuja Metro Line next year. Protest in Ondo, Cross River over NDDC board. And finally, from the Nation newspaper, the South African government has also reacted, and its story is captioned, 6th African coup. Oh, I beg your pardon, not South African government. Now, this is a writer to the Tinubu world leader story. Okay. I didn't take that earlier on, so I'm going to leave it. Let's just take this one now. President mourns as national flag designer Taiwo Akinkumi dies at 87. Okay, and that's that from the Nation newspaper.
All right, because of time, that is the much that we can take this morning. Right about now, we'll be handing over to our esteemed guest, Comrade Odomo, to give us few feedback from the dailies this morning, the stories, and of course, the headlines. What do you think, especially about the coup in Gabon from Niger? You know, it's like it's moving. You know, the train is moving forward. What do you have to say? You know,
I already summarized it in my first comment when you were reading the newspapers. When the winds whistle by, the trees have no choice. They have to bend to let them pass. And that is what we're experiencing in Africa today. When you make Jojo impossible, you cannot stop war. You see, in Africa, actually, we do things as if we are not part of this earth. How can you expect somebody of that age who cannot walk? The man is stroked. When he visited France last, he was following that Macron, the president of France, was assisting him to stand well. And all the lieutenants who are even, some of them are even less than 35 years, they're all standing by. Why do we continue operating on analog basis when we have digital? Tell me, how can that man reason? Now he's saying that the French should make noise. What type of noise do they make? They should be shouting on the street that they've overthrown our man or what? I think they even did well by even putting him on a house arrest. They would have just asked him to be walking home on the street of Gabon. Why do we continue doing one thing every day the same way and we expect results? It's never possible. It's only a foolish man that does that. So to me, whether they condemn or not, the Gabonese have decided, and they are sovereign countries, they should allow them to handle their problems themselves, like every other country will say. They are not an exception. All right, thank you very much. Do you see it spreading further to other African countries? Because the way it's spreading, the way it's going, our past president, Goodluck, did say, so many African countries have a serious problem about governance because of the electoral system. And until we correct this, it will continue to spread.
Is that the same reason Gabon, the military coup took place? I say that it was not free or fair, was not believable that the last election that took place.
He was still running for a third term. The son is in charge of one part of the military, all the family members. For 53 good years. I was thinking whether even your mother has gone out to marriage. Because 53 years is not a kid age at all. You see? So spreading to other African countries, this thing should make us to learn how to run our democracy, especially at the electoral system. Sometimes last year, before we go into the electionary campaign, I did make a comment. When the INEC chairman said he would require about 500 billion to run a free and fair election.
Yes, I remember.
And people shouted that the money was too much. And I asked the question, if 500 billion is too much to run an election, how much are you using to run the government or even of a local government alone? If we spend that money and we have our the electionary process right, what effect does it have on the economy? Because that is the foundation, that is the basic of every government. If you don't have a good electoral system and you bring in mediocres, you continue to lose more than 500 billion in a month.
All right, so yes, we're still looking at the papers, looking at the stories, but right about now, the phone lines are open for you to be a part of the program. The numbers for you to call, they're on your screen, but for those of you listening by radio, they are 080-22-931-931, 080-22-931-931, or you can reach us on 081-88-888-931. So before we start taking your calls, I have a question for Comrade Domo. Do you think this is a wake-up call to INEC?
It's a real wake-up call.
Do you think they should be on their 10 toes, see what is happening?
Look. If both of us are farmers, your farm is closest or is closer to the bush. Mine is after your own. When the grass cutters are eating your own cassava, I should not be comfortable. Exactly. Because by the time they finish your own cassava, they must shift to my own farm. So the very moment I see that they are there, it is either I help you to push them out, I keep vigilance on my own farm.
But I believe when the military handed over to civilians, there was an agreement that this would never happen again. They're talking about the military coup. No. There is something in Nigerian language, African language. I promised to help you, but I did not promise to keep that promise. Okay.
Okay,
all right.
Let's look at some of the issues. I recall when the story about an Ogun State pastor setting someone on fire for special prayers. I saw your reaction.
You know our pastors, they even see more than Jesus Christ. You cannot take that one away from them. Was the pastor looking for the demon? The demon inside the woman and decided to burn the demon out, or? It's only when you burn. This is not the first time it's happening, though. These are things we see in skits. I'm surprised to see it on the papers. You remember this man in Lagos then, who poured petrol on somebody and set fire? I've tried to remember that man's name. He was in the Ikeja area of Lagos. Wow. If he's coming to the church, all the church members along the road, en route to the church, they will kneel down and bow. Bow for him. And when he mounts the podium, Reverend King. Okay. When he mounts the podium and he's preaching, you cannot even stand up that you want to go and eat yourself. True. They will beat you black and blue. He's in jail now, I guess. Yes, he's in jail. He was sentenced to death, but he's still in jail. They will beat you black and blue. I think it is time. It is not a crime at all like this religion. It is time the government start looking into the activities of our churches. Most of them have taken too many things for granted. Most of them have broken marriages. They have broken homes. They have destroyed a lot of setups. Yes, in the name of frivolous and preaching. Now they don't measure their powers in God again with spirituality. They measure it with terms of wealth. They measure them with how many prophecies you can dish out in a day. And you know our people are so gullible. When people were praying, other countries were working. November 4, 1986, if you go cast your mind back, Kumuyi did say that it is time for Nigeria to go to prayers. Then Dubai was a desert. Dubai decided to go to work. We went into prayers. We are still praying till date. Dubai has developed one among the first nations in the world. We will pray to raise money to go and buy something from Dubai that is not praying. And the government should look into all these things. I think if we allow you can go on and on and on. Let's see. Exactly. Let's see. 081-88-888-931. Hello, good morning and welcome. Good morning. What's the name and location? I'm Emmanuel calling from Mughelin. All right, please go ahead. The thing that normally surprises me is that we like attacking the churches a lot, attacking pastors a lot. Can we attack the Muslim like that? We don't have the liver to do that. Because the Muslim, excuse me.
Why?
Because the Muslims don't go into this type of prophecy that we have.
The one that they are doing now, that they are killing people everywhere. I mean, people talk about it.
They are not imams.
Killing people anywhere like that.
They are not imams.
Okay.
It's a very sensitive topic. You know, a lot of people hold resentment and, you know, sentiment when it comes to religious topic.
But then the truth is, what is wrong is wrong.
Exactly.
What is bad is bad.
I believe, was it in Kenya or so, where one of the pastors was telling the members to starve to death to see Jesus. And they ended up finding more than 800 carcasses of dead bodies in the church.
You can't find this among the Muslims.
Exactly. I believe it because they all have their Qurans where they learn from, not the words of the...
I am not a Muslim, but I give it to them. You can't find all of these among...
Look at all the prophecies before the elections.
How do they set you on fire because they're trying to heal you?
They're trying to deliver me.
But yes, we're still taking your calls. 080-2293-1931. That's another line you can reach us with. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
And welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
Very fine. Your name and your location.
My name is Prophet Isaac Okofasa. I'm speaking from Agbaru.
Okay, go ahead.
Good to have you, Prophet.
First and foremost, I want to thank the resource man there for speaking the truth.
Thank you. God bless you.
We appreciate. Oga, continue with your truthful word.
God bless you.
If you are the Messiah, God said, because they said the truth. The Bible says, say the truth and you shall be set free.
Exactly.
I was shocked to see the last caller querying everybody that we only talk about Christians. We are not talking about Muslims. Is he not a Christian? What the Christians are doing today, how can a whole pastor of a church, set a woman ablaze? What kind of prayer is that? Is that not demonic? Such a pastor, if we were to be in the time of Moses, that man would have been brought to the open and stoned to death.
Exactly.
So, if you are saying something and somebody is counter-saying, those are the antichrist we are talking about. Then on the second note, yes, that's the truth.
Thank you very much, Prophet.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the antichrist. When somebody is talking, when good luck said the other time that the way things are going in Africa, things are not going fine. What he prophesied then, they happen now. We are thinking of how to solve our problem. Our president is sending soldiers to Niger to go and kill the body.
All right, we'll have to cut you short there because that is not fact.
You see the position of the prophet. The Bible did not say we should be foolish.
True.
It has told us to be wise. Be wise. That is this. I'm not so much good in all these things.
Be wise as a serpent.
Exactly.
Be gentle as a dove and wise. I think as a serpent.
Go to the ants and then learn some lessons.
Oh yes, I will do that. I will bring my bishophood.
But if we like Comrade Odomo talk a lot about the Bible, we would not end the segment today. And there are other amazing programs lined up for you this morning, talking about the big story on Quest today with Michael Ray. But before we go, I think there's one more story that caught my attention of a man stabbing a son, stabbing the father. Over 70,000 naira. It seems like a lot is going on.
Have you not
in
seen
society?
Where a king locked the father in, wanting the father to die on time so that he can be king?
But this one for 70,000 naira.
Do you know 70,000? You know what it meant to a lot of people? You know what 70,000 is?
We've heard worst cases.
How many Nigerians today earn 20,000 a month?
Minimum wage is 33,000 if I'm not mistaken.
And most of them have been old several months. Then somebody is since 70,000. He has not eaten, the wife has not eaten, the children are not in school, no transport to go out, and he's seen that type of money in the father's drawer, and the father refused him taking the money. Don't you know how infuriated the guy would be? But well, he went too far. And when you go too far, there is no law that respects such a person.
There is no justification for that.
If the devil has caused you to go and commit trouble, the devil should always stand by you when you are being on trial.
I have to say a big thank you to my colleague and my guest in the studio this morning. We have had an amazing time. I remain Sarah Mobigo and I've been doing this with Mr. Alex Ogbonaya and Comrade Odomo. But for now, we'll say bye. Good morning. Enjoy the rest of your day.